English are in town and ready to take on West Indies in the decisive one-day international. I know there's a guy I suspect that he probably believes that it really should not be the decisive one-day international. The series should have been decided already. In fact, there may be two guys who may believe that. One, I believe, is a guy called Philo Wallace, and another, Basil Butcher Jr. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, welcome. Thank you very much, Philip.
Having me, Philip.
Yeah, so
Hello.
should we be looking forward to the decider, or did we blow the opportunity in the second one-day international? Basil?
I think we did blow the opportunity. Although we made 328 runs, I think we could have made more. I didn't see the match, right? I just saw the last 3 overs. When I flipped through the scoreboard, for example, I looked at both Carty, who made runs, and Shea Hope, who made another 100. But what stuck out to me, both of them, their strike rates were under 100, right? So what that tells me, in those middle overs, we left some runs on the board. And if it was not for at the bottom, some swashbuckling by Rutherford, Hetmeyer, even Matthew Ford, and to a lesser extent, Roston Chase, that got us up to 328. So, and isn't that also the Achilles heel in our batting lineup, these middle overs that Sammy has been pushing, wants us to improve and push and push and push to improve that run rate in those overs. And knowing that our bowling attack is not one of the best, England made a meal of it, got to the score with 2 overs and 3 balls left.
Philo, what are your thoughts on the fact that West Indies not able to defend 300 plus runs? You agree with Basil that the middle order batting should be held responsible?
No, I don't believe that the middle order batting should be held responsible. I think the 328 runs is good enough, or should have been good enough. I thought that Casey Carty and Shea Hope played the middle overs the best way possible. We know we just came back from Sri Lanka, and the spin in the middle overs were our downfall. Obviously, the pitches were a lot more spin friendly, but I thought that the way how Casey Carty and Hope batted those middle overs were good. Right. To get it to 328 is a fantastic effort. My problem is the bowling. Because if you're a bowling unit, you have to set a target that you're going to bowl out England for. England played the game they wanted to play. The last 10 overs, they wanted 100. And that was the game plan. And I keep saying all the time, we have backroom staff, but I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're afraid to send a message and say, listen, these guys looking to get 100 in the last 10. Let's buckle down and follow all the stops and look to seal this series. You hear all the interviews, this is what happened a couple of years ago. We keep living in the past. But I thought the 328 was a very good score to defend. It just came down to poor bowling executions and obviously some very good hitting, a very good batting and strike and stroke play from Liam Livingston, obviously, and Sam Curran, who played merely as a batter that worked. And then they got a good start. And obviously, you saw Jacob Bethel, what he can do. So England played the right game to chase down 328. I thought the West Indies let themselves down. But the bowling did not effective.
Well, so Phil,
go ahead, Basil.
Because I didn't see the game, as I said. So so Carty and Hope's innings were, despite the strike rate was not up were under 100.
I thought the batted that situation well. We know that Carty is not a big striker of the cricket ball, but he supported Hope. You see, my fear is that Rutherford is the informed player. He came before Hetmeyer. He got 50 odd, which was good. But my fear is that if you leave too many balls to the batters down on the bottom there, we can struggle because our batters seem not to be able to bat a lot of balls. They're like 20 balls. They're like 25 balls to bat. When you leave them with 110, it is trouble. Not that they played the game well. We batted well. I just thought of all bowling. And the pitch was a good pitch, I must commend the curators in Antigua, I thought the first pitch was a little tacky, but the second ODI pitch, I thought played well.
It was a good pitch.
Yeah, there was no uneven bounce and stuff like that. And then our main bowler, Moti, struggled. Ross and Chase struggled. So when the two leading bowlers, Moti and Chase, struggle, then you find yourself now, Jaden Seal, they know what to do when Leah Livingston started to shift about the crease for himself. And he kept bowling the ball wide, and kept hitting over extra cover for 6 rather than bowling straight. And I don't understand. I don't know if they talk to each other, because when I played cricket, the bowlers used to talk to each other. If a fella is struggling, they would see the bowlers talking to each other and try to help. I don't see that in West Indies cricket. One of those bowlers should be able to go and say, listen, we need to stick to the plan, which I believe the bowling coach would have said, bowl the ball full and straight at the stumps. But we don't know, because we hardly hear the bowling coach. So we don't know what plans they had in terms of bowling. And the batting, to me, is the right thing.
Philo, it's interesting. You made an interesting observation there, because in those closing overs, there was a time when Seals in particular was to my mind, it was ridiculous, really. He was bowling wide at the off stump, and when it wasn't called wide, it was being belted over the cover or somewhere for 4. But at that point in time, there were more fielders on the offside. I think there were 6 fielders on the offside at that point in time. And therefore, if your captain gives you 6 fielders on the offside, I think psychologically you are going to be very careful or very reluctant to bowl the ball straight. So therefore, yes, I'm not taking the responsibility away from the bowler, because if the plan is to bowl wide, then you're supposed to do that effectively. But I'm not so sure that in itself should have been the plan.
But Philip, if you're bowling wide, they might hit you for 6. You can keep bowling wide.
But there we go. But then the captain will have to change your field now to allow you to bowl a different line.
I agree. So that's why I asked if anybody speaks to these bowlers when they're coming on.
I think you got to speak to the captain first, in the sense that if I have 6 men on the offside, for example, and I'm bowling wide, but I get it slightly wrong and I get belted for 4 and 6 through the offside, I now can't go with that same field and bowl straight at the stump for the guy to work me into the onside where there are no fielders.
Yeah, but what
the captain and the bowler have to work together.
Philip, I understand the captain is supposed to come into dialogue. They understand all of that.
Right.
But the bowlers themselves can say, listen, this ain't working, and go to the captain and say, listen, we need to bowl straight.
Agreed. The two have to be on the same page.
On the same page.
Regardless whichever one starts.
Livingston never looked like he would get out hot in the offside. He never looked that way. He hit the ball with a lot of power and authority in the offside. If he's doing that, let's readjust the field and bowl the ball full and straight. But we allow the man to use his arms, and 328. The people wipe it off for 15 balls.
Let's take a closer look.
Let me ask this question. Let me ask this quick question.
Go ahead, Basil.
Before we get to that. Philo, was it because this whole thing about the breeze blowing in Antigua, right? Was the breeze blowing from this offside? Was that the offside where the breeze was blowing in?
The only thing that was blowing was the ball blowing over the cover fielders and over the ball.
All right. Okay, good. No, why I asked that? Because that would be a caveat for you packing the side of the offside, and you want to go to that side, because with the wind, the batter would be less would want to think of hitting into the wind if you're trying to go over the top, right? Now, if that's not the case, why don't you have a more balanced field placing, so you give the bowlers more options to where he can bowl?
But the man was hitting the 6s against the wind. The 6s were being struck against the wind. So if you're telling me what wind howling and coming through here, but let me tell you something. Tell me
something, gentlemen.
But you gotta get your strategy.
Basil and Philo, tell me something, and especially Philo. Basil can win as well, but especially Philo, because of his experience as the captain of the Barbados team and playing for the West Indies at a time when he would have had captains who were well respected and so on. Were there left-handers and leg spinners and off spinners when you played, Philo? It may seem like a silly question, but I get the impression nowadays that the decisions are all based on the wind, on a left-handed batting, so therefore you must have an off spinner to bowl to him. I don't really understand it, and that's why I'm appealing to you, Philip, because I know you've got the practical experience. But there's a guy called Mutar Muralitharan, there was a Graham Swan, there's Shane Warne, there was the other guy who was a top leg spinner around the same time as Shane Warne.
McGill.
A bundle of Indian spinners. In the Caribbean, we had Lance Gibbs going back in the day. And did Lance Gibbs only bowl at left-handers? I don't get it.
I would like to know, Philip, because
Oh.
in modern day, all you hear these commentators speaking about is matchup.
You match
If you
ups.
want to match, I know you're going to look for a pair of shoes that will match.
Or get
If
a
a
did
bowler is bowling, if a bowler is bowling leg breaks and he's a good bowler, he should be able to bowl at left-hander or right-hander. It comes down to control. All I hear is that the off-break bowler can't bowl at the right-hander because he can hit the in-cow corner. I can't get that understand. But if the off-spinner is of quality and bowling the right line, the right length, and the right pace, there's no way the right-hander can hit him down there unless he takes chances and he set the field correctly. And another thing to field placing to me is off in this one-day series, even from the England captain. The field placings to me look off. Obviously, I'm not live there. I'm watching it obviously on a big screen in London while doing some comments, but it looks off to me. But if you set the field correctly and your bowler is bowling what you want him to bowl, it doesn't matter if he's a right hander or left hander. I played cricket with Doris Linton. He was a leg spin googly bowler. He bowled left-handers and right-handers. I played with Dave Marshall, like Brett Googly, Winston Reid, left-arm orthodox, Hendy Springer, Terry Rollock. All of them bowl at left-handers and right-handers, and they were successful because they had confidence. But because we are putting in our bowlers' minds that you can only bowl one way, then they bowl one way.
So mediocrity is
thing
the key word. From what you're saying, it seems mediocrity is the key word here. If
I
you're
don't know if it's
mediocre,
mediocrity. I go into the bowling coach. I want to know what is his plan up front. This is what I feel, right, about our bowling. Our bowling at the top has missed aggression. Those opening bowlers do not bowl enough bouncers in the ODIs. We're looking at length and in swinging the ball. If we bowl some hard lengths and bumpers at the English batters, we can push them back. When a ball flies past a batter head, he's think twice about coming forward. Philip Salt stays leg side of the ball. You want to nick back the ball at Philip Salt, bowl a good bump at Philip Salt and keep your back foot, and then both the stumps with the ball straight. That's the easiest way to get it done. But all bowlers look at the ball length coming back in, and them in the go wide, get slaughter. You're going to bowl hard lengths at the fellas, and they're not doing it. I don't know if they're strong enough or the instructions that you can just bowl 2 feet outside the yard, something for the ball to nip back. If you're nipping back, the pace is licked. But we need to bowl more aggressive at the English batters up front and push them back. And we are not doing it. And then when the guys come in looking, they get slaughtered. Simple. You need to bowl hard, serious lengths at those 2 opening batters up front there. And if your prize one early, ring a bump in Jordan Cox's head. We're not doing it. We have lost our aggressive nature as fast bowlers in the region.
but do we have the fast bowlers who can do those things?
Do we have the coaching staff that can get our fast bowlers to bowl faster? That is what I want to know.
I would want to add something because I watched the first game and this new guy from England, Turner. And I noted England obviously looked at what Sri Lanka had done to our Brandon King in particular, where they were bowling the ball and nipping back at Brandon King. Because Brandon King opened up because he wanted it into the offside. So if you're bringing the ball nipping back, you're going through the gate, right? And you could see how they were controlling Brandon King in that first game. And to add on to what Philo was saying, it seems to me in the white ball game, a batter's strengths and weaknesses get thrown out of the picture when you're going to attack the batsman as a bowler and how you set your fields, etc. It's all these other extraneous things, righty-lefty matchup, which is the largest side of the field because, which square, on the square where the pitch is located. In the Caribbean, for example, where the wind blowing in and so on and so forth. And it's almost this part of the game is forgotten. You as a spectator looking, why you're not attacking the guy's weaknesses to try to quiet the guy, to force him, just like you do in Test cricket. It's still cricket. And Hello, the lengths you're talking about, because I saw in that first game when the English bowlers were hitting the test match length, our batters was under pressure.
But Basil, to even add more muscle to what you're saying, yesterday, Brandon King got out to his favorite shot, looking at the ball spray the wicket. You know why? Because the man took it with pace and then come back on the hard length, leaving it slightly, and he was out at backward point. So his strength is his weakness because he's not getting it. And when he gets it, he thinks, yes, I can get away with my shot, and he was out. And these are the little things that you have to pick up. We are taking too much, we're using too many external factors to win cricket matches. A cricket match is won by the team who outplays the other team, you know. And we are not doing that. We are thinking that fella is going to just turn up, it's West Indies, and they're just going to crumble. 328, England can't make it. But the fellas want to win. They came here to win. The ECB picked that 15-man squad to beat West Indies. And we should have nailed West England yesterday and go to Barbados and nail them 3-0 and tell them go home and then deal with the 15.
Okay, guys.
No,
so guys,
winning is important, Basil. If
I
we
agree.
don't win, we can stay down at number 9th in the world. We need to come out at the bottom. Our buzzword should be winning at all costs.
So what do you need to
breaking
do?
a fella hand.
What do you need to do now to win on Wednesday, Basil? I said Basil first because you already indicated what needs to be done. I want to hear what Basil is going to tell. What's he going to whisper to the coach?
Well, the area, I would just talk about the bowling, and I would like to see West Indies being more attacking, especially up front. Bowling bowling at batters' weaknesses to get them out. Even sometimes bowl at their strength early on, because Philo will tell you as a batter, your favorite shot, regardless what time you come into bat, most batters are going to look to play it, right? But when you first come into bat, your feet aren't moving, everything is not moving in sync yet. So you're more susceptible to getting the batter. Some of these things that we do in red ball cricket seem to have been lost in the white ball game because of all these extraneous things that we discussed earlier. And I would like to see a much more disciplined bowling attack. You know, maybe now we're playing in Barbados. Are we gonna play the extra fast bowler in the side? Both Josephs, if both of them are gonna play, that's another question we have to ask. If
I would hope not. I think Alzarri Joseph has been, before we bring back in Philo to whisper to the coach. And in fact, I suspect that Philo is past the point of whispering now. I feel that if he had access to the coach, he would shout him down. But Alzarri Joseph has been around now for what? Off the top of my head, about 8 years or so. And I don't know. I mean, Philo's played at that international level. It's that hard. I mean, you take 8 years to learn how to bowl. You know, I think we need to start looking elsewhere. And I'm not saying that he should never play again, although I'm sure that will please some people. But clearly, this is not a guy who or I shouldn't say clearly, it would appear from what we've been saying over the last year or two that this is not a guy who's going to go any further and let's say number himself among the greats, because he struggled for, I would say, for about 1.5 to 2 years. And then in the CPL, we saw Joseph, you could say, playing, you could saw the extra experiences, so he looked a cut above the rest. And therefore, the thought would have been to say, okay, so he has gone through his bad patch and he's ready to go again. But now he stepped back up to the international level. It's the same thing. That tells me that he's maxed out. You know, that may seem harsh, but that's what it says to me. And I think that West Indies now need to look at some other options. It doesn't mean that he's not going to be in the setup and play at some point in time. But I think we need to let go of the dream that Alzarri Joseph would be our big fast bowler in the same way we had Courtney Walsh, we had Curtly Ambrose, and going back, we had too many to number. Alzarri Joseph has shouted at us the same way Philo wants to shout at the coaches. He shouted at us for the last 2 years, telling us, I am not that guy.
I don't want to shout at any coaches. I don't shout at people. I raise my voice. My thing about Alzarri Joseph is that I think that Alzarri Joseph have not been handled properly. We have not got the pairing right with Alzarri Joseph. Fast bowlers hunt in pairs. And we have not had that pairing in a long time. I believe that the two Josephs should play in Barbados and release them on England. I know Matthew Ford has been successful at the top of the opening the bowling, but I will release Alzari Joseph and Shamar Joseph on the English in Bridgetown. I have Matthew Ford just in case things go pair. You got to come back and he can nip it out. But I think we're looking to nip the ball with Matthew Ford at the top. And we're strangling Alzari. We need to allow the man to run in and bowl freely. He's the vice captain, which is a responsibility. Allow him to bowl freely. I think he's being governed down. And I find it surprising, because he's the quickest along with this Shamar Joseph. I was disappointed in Shamar Joseph yesterday. Yes, it was his debut, but I thought he would have bowled better. I honestly thought he would have bowled better. And if you look at him, he's not even as smooth as when we saw him first in Australia. So some kind of rhythm has lost in his bowling. Now, he left Sri Lanka for a personal reason. A day before the final ODI, I know he's in the squad. Nobody's saying what he went left the tour for, nothing. All these things could be psychologically affecting him. So I think that once we can get our bowling pairing right, I think that we can stand a good chance to beat England. That is my key. Moti obviously is had a bad game yesterday. I expect Moti to pick himself up, dust himself
Nine
off.
overs for 71 runs.
And come back. I believe he will come back strong in Barbados if he's given the opportunity to play. I think Ross had chased too as well.
10 overs for 53 runs yesterday.
Yes, and a little off the ball. I thought Ross, and Ross needs the man will pick up 1 or 2 wickets. The wickets incoming, a little blunders in the field as well when he bowls. So these are little things that we just need to correct. I believe that we can correct those little things and stay in the game, we can beat England, because that 329 runs that they made yesterday to beat us, that is going to give them a lot of confidence going into Bridgetown. Plenty. Because they're going to say, look, we're going to a better pitch. They're going to conditions that will suit them as well. But we need to show them that we're playing at home. And although we give you good conditions, we can still get over you. And we need to win this ODI series. We need to give ourselves a chance in the T20.
But talking about T20, guys, we will have a chat about that. Not now, a bit later. Let's get over the one-day international hurdle first, and then we're going to have a look at the T20. So closing comments, Basil?
Look, I agree with Philo, but I want to see both Josephs play in Barbados. And yes, I want to see both of them open the bowling up front. And if the two of them they don't show, you always could bring on Mr. Ford if you need to, right? But I want to see the two of them bowling up front. Run at these guys. I mean, England got several guys, new guys in the fold. They're looking to make a name for themselves, and I don't want them to be making no names for themselves against us. But
I think that ship has sailed. Livingston scored a century. Bethel got his first half century, and Sam Curran got a half century.
Livingston, but Bethel come and make a half century. That. So he already on his way with that one there. But no, we gotta those fast bowlers. I think we should let Seals take a seat this game and let the other Joseph come back in. That would be my change.
Hello, your closing comment?
Yeah, I wasn't happy with Jaden Seal yesterday as well. I thought he bowled too predictable, and he's done on pace again. I don't know if he's tired, maybe need a little rest. But I would tend to believe that I would sit down Jaden, and I will give Alzari the opportunity to run and bowl in Barbados. And once the curators down there produce a good surface, the services that I saw in the CPL were quite good. They can get those that kind of surface at Kensington for the final ODI. I think it would set us up well to be in a good position to win. But obviously, you're going to go and execute on the day as well. So I will hope that West Indies can really get the right 11 out there. And if we're bowling, get the right bowling combinations together, support in the field, and let's look to win the series to 1 and then move into the other kill. We need to start winning series.
As part of the closing comments, though, I'm going to throw something at you guys. I was in the park as that game was being played, and Rutherford, as you know, has been doing very well recently. And there was a guy right next to me who was shaking his head, and his opinion is that Rutherford isn't really much ado about nothing. A guy rather well too. You may want to rebuff his remarks, Philo.
No,
Or you may not want to.
no, I think that Chair Fair Rutherford is showing consistency, which is lacking in our batters, and he's come from Sri Lanka and he's continued to show good form. I think you have to credit Rutherford for the skills that he showed. Firstly, in Sri Lanka on pitches that they said which tailor made for spin, but he cut out 3 hour centuries, and he started this series against England very well. And I think that when you look at the way how he's playing, he's showing the other batters how to adapt to 50 over cricket. And he has the ability as well to hit the ball for sixes. His rotation of strike, hitting the ball for four, he looks good. He looks like an organized batter. And I think you have to commend him for the work that he's done and the improvement that he's made in his entire cricket. I would like him to see be a bit fitter. I think that he's doing the job at the moment for us quite well. You have to commend him.
What
Yeah,
are
I
the signs
think
of his lack of fitness, as far as you're concerned?
I think that sometimes our players don't do enough in the downtime.
No, I mean,
And
what do you see on the field that makes you think he's not as fit as he could be? That's what I mean.
he looks a little heavy,
yeah,
Philip. I don't really. It looks a little heavy. It's the truth. He
yeah.
looks a little heavy, and I think that he
Oh,
knows it
so
as
you're
well.
equating weight to fitness.
No, look at his movement. He also seems to be carrying some kind of issue with his shoulder. But Rutherford, that's an area in Rutherford's cricket that he himself would admit to you he has never been really where it comes to his fitness. Now I'm not just talking about weight. I'm just talking about fitness to play cricket and be able to play the highest, be able to put his best output in because he's in the best condition. Conditioning. We get with this word, let's say conditioning. His conditioning
Yeah.
could be better.
Because
right?
he's also a little medium pacer, but he doesn't bowl a lot.
Yes, and that's the thing. Rutherford, when he first started for Guyana, they put him, he was actually an opening batsman, but they slotted him into the role as a bowling all-rounder. And some Bajans would remember there was a game against Guyana where he ran the Bajan batters. His best figures was against Barbados, taking 6 wickets, right? But the thing that I'm impressed though with Rutherford has shown that he is a crisis player. And we haven't had many of such players coming up in recent times. Because if you look, more times than not when Rutherford comes into bat, West Indies in trouble. Right?
But anybody who bats 5-6 or so, they're going to find themselves in that situation more often than not.
Right?
Philip.
And he has been able to extricate West Indies out of those situations and put on a good score, and including winning matches for us like he did in the World Cup. So players like and he showed that now we come back into the ODI. He has continued in that vein. So that is a part of this game that has impressed me mostly since he has come back into the West Indies team in both formats.
Okay, guys, well said. Just one thing. I'll give you guys a bit of homework. I'll do some myself. I'll let you guys monitor his vital statistics, and I will monitor his runs.
Right.
All right, guys, thanks. Here's hoping that we can have a good contest on Wednesday, and that West Indies will come out on top.
I agree with that. Hoping we win the series 2-1 because, as Philo said earlier, these games count in terms of the rankings. And if by any means you could avoid
qualifications,
the qualifiers, because we haven't really fared well in those. So I mean, we want to win these games. We can't be allowing England coming with players who looking to make a name and they're making the name off of us. I mean, those are the times where it's a mental thing that puts you in a frame mind of more acute laser focus to perform.
Thanks again, guys. We'll talk after the end of the One Day International Series.